We all know the importance of getting a good night's sleep. We talk about it a lot, and a new study shows lack of sleep can actually alter a teenager's brain.
And prenatal exposure to those forever chemicals known as PFAS are linked to high blood pressure in kids. UW Health's Dr. Jeff Potoff is here to talk about both of these topics. Hello.
Hey guys.
Yeah, so researchers are finding teens who went to bed earlier, slept longer, were sharper.
Yeah, essentially that's what this is saying. So what they did is they looked at 2,800 teenagers and they gave them like a Fitbit, like a watch to like monitor their sleep. And what they were looking at is for those kids who went to bed earlier, slept longer, they looked at a particular interconnected part of the brain called the default mode network. And what they found is those kids who didn't get a whole lot of sleep or had fractured sleep, those parts weren't as connected as we'd want them to be. There's other literature that suggests that if those areas aren't connected, it could increase risk for mental health conditions, depression, schizophrenia, ADHD. Then when they did, MRIs and psychological testing, talked to parents, they found out these kids did sometimes have, more behavioral issues or mental health problems.
That's interesting. Do teenagers need more sleep than the regular 8 hours?
Typically, yeah. So like the best evidence we have right now, adults, 7 hours a night on the light side, but more likely 8. Our kids, anywhere from, 9 to 10 hours of sleep per night, which is hard to get. We're all so busy.
And now that school's out, everybody's up. Everybody's
right.
staying up late.
Staying up late, but sleeping until noon too, right? Yeah.
Memories. No, I want to know, and it can be challenging too for the kids and teens who are in sports. During the school year, they go to school, they go to sports, they have homework. How can you even get to bed early?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to say, take your kids out of all these things because there's benefits to being in sports and things like that. But I think moderation, if you have a late night once a week, maybe that's okay. But try to, over the average, make sure your kids are getting plenty of sleep. It's probably pretty important.
That's your best guidance for parents. Tough with teenagers.
It is tough. That's the thing, right? But as much as you can.
All right, let's talk about this other very interesting study about PFAS. Those are those forever chemicals that don't break down. They're in the water supply. They come from firefighting foam and landfills and things like that. And this is very interesting. They found that if you're exposed to PFAS when you're pregnant, it is linked to high blood pressure in children. That's not something you would think children would ever be affected by.
No, I mean, this is super interesting. So study out of Boston, they looked at 1,100 pregnant women from a long time ago, and they assessed what were their PFAS levels during the time of pregnancy. And those women who had twice the level of PFAS in their system compared to baseline, they then followed their kids that were born for the next 18 years.
Interesting.
And at 18 years out, those kids who had mothers who had those elevated PFAS levels, 17% more likely to have hypertension. So just another thing, like as we study these chemicals, we find more and more like not great things about them, and then they don't go away. They're like everywhere in the environment. For some of these, if you get them in your system, it can take 30 to 40 years before they're out of your system. So they're there for the long haul.
That's really scary to think about. And like you both said, they're in everything. Is it even possible to be mindful about choosing products without them?
I think it's hard to go about and say, hey, I'm not going to be exposed to any PFAS. I think what we need to do though is say, like, if these things are looking like they're not that great and they're everywhere, like what do we need to do to try to eliminate them now? And maybe that doesn't help me and you as much, but maybe our kids or our kids' kids won't have this exposure.
Cookware can be a big...
Teflon is kind of like the poster child for it. I mean, a great product, right? Like your eggs don't stick to your pan, but original Teflon did have high levels of PFAS.
Very interesting studies.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, good to see you, Dr. Potoff. Thanks.
We'll be right back.